Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time of day this video finds you. It's your boy Jay here, and this is going to be my review of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, okay? And this is going to be the original patch, and we're about a month after the initial release date of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. I don't got the clout that some of the bigger YouTubers got, you know what I'm saying, where they can grab it early and then play it and then, you know, release the review on the release date. But having this being a post-release review, I've had a lot of time to really marinate on the game and really play and dive in super deep and really take a look at some of the things that make this game great, or what they maybe missed on, or you know, things like that. So yes, if you like this kind of content, Monster Hunter, be sure to subscribe down below, comment down below, like down below. Tell me if there's anything I missed. Tell me if your opinion lines up with mine. Am I tripping, or am I spot on with my review of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak? And with that being said, let's dive right in. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is something that even users who don't buy Sunbreak will be able to take advantage of, and that is the new weapon balancing. Okay, so looking at base Rise before Sunbreak came out, the way the weapons were balanced was a little bit off, right? There were some weapons that were like super strong, and then there were other weapons where it was like blatantly obvious, like, okay, this is kind of the weakest weapon in the game. So for Sunbreak, they patched it, they changed a lot of things with these weapons to their base movesets. We're not even talking about like the new moves that each weapon got. We're talking about the base moveset got changes to help close that gap a little bit, okay? They brought down some of the higher weapons and they brought up some of the lower weapons, right? So now it feels way more rewarding to use every weapon, right? You don't feel like, oh, you beat that monster with longsword, man, play it with a harder weapon, that's easy mode, right? Or like, oh dang, you did that with gunlance, bro, that's crazy, you must be really good, because gunlance the weakest in the game. No longer true. They've really shrunk the gap down, and all of the weapons kind of sit in more or less the same place. Now, that's not to say that your previous playstyles from base Rise are going to be completely trash, because that's not true either. It's completely viable way to play still. However, you know, it's just been brought down a peg just a little bit, right? So now that all of the weapons are kind of in the same boat and everything feels viable, which is awesome. Okay, so now you have 14 different play styles the way you could hunt, and they're all kind of more or less on the same footing. Now, of course, there are some outliers, but hey, I'm really liking the way they balance the weapons in the Sunbreak patch that applies to even base Rise users. So if you still have yet to play this game, you will be able to take advantage of this, you know what I mean? Like, or if you've already played base Rise and you want to see what it feels like with the new weapon balancing, that's also something you can do. Start up a new file and go through the original game and be like, yo, this feels completely different because of the new weapon balancing. While we're on the topic of weapon balancing, we're going to move into some Sunbreak specific stuff. The new moves that all of the weapons got are really nice, and this goes back to what I said, you know, just a few seconds ago, was the weapons that were kind of lower tier, like, oh, these weapons aren't good, got like really good tools to help them catch up to the rest of the pack, whereas weapons that were super top tier got moves that were kind of okay, this adds to the kit, and you know, you can see how this fits with the moveset of the current weapon, but like, it's not game changing like how something like, I don't know, Bullet Barrage is for Gunlance, you know what I mean? So yeah, the new moves really fit in really well, and they also help with the whole closing the gap thing. And then also, some of these new moves really help the playstyle of existing playstyles. For example, in base Rise for Charge Blade, all everybody did was run, you know, SAD spam, and nobody used the spinning slash mode. But now, Charge Blade got a new move, Ready Stance, which gives you the ability to block without putting away your weapon, so that your weapon charge stays spinning longer. It really complements the playstyle really well, and it's something that the Charge Blade really needed to help catch up to the pack. So the new moves in Sunbreak are excellent. I love them all, almost, right? But I mean, for some of you know, the weapons that were already like super high class, for example, like longsword got Harvest Moon, which is actually really hard to use properly because of the way it's set up, and it's got some downsides, and the monster has to attack you and you have to counter the monster at the perfect time while in the circle. There's a lot of caveats to using that move, but longsword was already really good, you know. But also longsword got another good move that is also really powerful, so, and it complements, you know, it adds another style to the way longsword is played. So yes, the new moves are excellent, and of course there are some that I'm not really a fan of, but is what it is, you know. Every weapon got at least 3 new moves. I mean, 14 by 3, do the math, that's a lot of work. So yeah, looking really good, feels really good to play every weapon, and now you have even more of an incentive to just play all of the weapons because they're all good and they're all viable and none of them are lagging behind, and it also feels like none of them are so far ahead. Also a new thing, switch skill swap. I love it so much. It's incredible. I can't talk about the new moves without talking about switch skill swap. This allows you to bring another set of moves or another set of playstyle along with you on a hunt. So yes, there are still some slots that like have 3 moves, so you do have to choose to leave something behind. However, this really opens up the variability of each weapon, right? So like, yes, switch skills at their base were really good, right? You could have 2 people using the same weapon and they have completely different switch skills, but like over time we discovered like, okay, this switch skill is just way better than this one. Hail cutter, right? Trash. Nobody's using hail cutter, you know, so nobody used that, so everyone kind of moved to like a samey switch skill set. But with the switch skill swap, your playstyle is exaggerated almost, or you can have 2 way different playstyles on 2 different scrolls. So yeah, really loving the switch skill swap. Really helps you mold the weapon into your own, you know what I mean? So really loving the switch skill swap. And you know, all these switch skill ideas feel like all the ideas from the old games, but they're done a little bit better. It's almost as if Capcom took all of the good ideas from their past and said, all right, this is how we're gonna implement them here, you know what I'm saying? Talking about like hunter arts and hunting styles, as far as, you know, red scroll, blue scroll, and there are even some skills in the game that change based on what swap scroll you're in. Incredible, love it. That's something I didn't know that I wanted, and it's here, and I was like, yo, this is so dope. So yeah, switch skill swap, the new switch skills, incredible stuff. I love it. It's really fun to play with. Takes a little while to get used to, and you do kind of have to get pretty deep in the game to unlock all of the switch skills, which is something that I kind of wish was done a little bit differently. They give you like half the skills up front when you first start the game, and then they give you half the skills on the back end of the game when you're almost beating the game. So it's like, oh, okay, they could have like slowed down the way they give you a skill. They could have given you 1 skill when you first get to El Gato, and then another skill maybe after MR2, and then another skill after MR4, and then maybe the last skill as you get through MR6. You know what I'm saying? Just to have that progression be a little bit smoother. But hey, is what it is. Once you get them all unlocked and you realize like, okay, this is a whole lot going on. It's really good. It's really fun to play with. Switch skill swap is incredible, and I love it. Okay, so now that we've gone over having more switch skills, and we talked about how the weapons are more balanced and a bunch of weapons got buffed and only like 1 or 2 weapons got nerfed, how is the difficulty? And it pleases me to say that the difficulty is in a pretty good spot. I like where the difficulty was for my playthrough of this game. You are almost always in danger of getting 2-shot. Like, these monsters hit that hard, right? So that was a question, you know, that we had when, you know, Sunbreak kind of came up. It was like, man, in Monster Hunter Rise, man, the hunters move so fast. Will these monsters be able to keep up? Because, you know, Rise was kind of like, it's the easiest game of the series. Just, you know, try out all the new weapons and have fun, right? I am happy to report that the game is a bit more difficult, and if you are not careful, you will be out here getting clapped. Like, it is what it is. And especially after you roll credits and you start taking part in the end game, yeah, there's something that unlocks that changes a whole lot of monsters, and ooh, they really dial it up to 11. Now it's not like you know, EX hard from GU, but we could be getting that in the future, kind of, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, the difficulty is in a very nice sweet spot, and the progression through the game is also really nice and kind of different when compared to previous Monster Hunter games. So let's talk about that a little bit. In previous Monster Hunter games, you know, you went through a quest and you did all your key quests, and then you got one urgent, and then the urgent moved you to the next level, right? You went from 3-star to 4-star, and then you did your 4-star urgent, then you moved to 5-star, and then you do the 5-star urgent. Every level had one urgent. That is no longer the case here. The structure of this game is a little different. It's almost like we got half steps when it comes to the star rating. So you would get to, you know, let's say you're at 2-star, and then you'd have 3 or so key quests available to you, and then you'd get an urgent. You do the urgent, you're still at 2-star, but 3 more key quests show up and more monsters show up, but you're still at 2-star. And then after you do that 2-star urgent, you're at 3-star, and so on. So there's almost like you know, 1.5 star, 2.5 star, 3.5 star, 4 star, 4.5 star, 5.5 star levels for each quest. So that's really cool, and it gives us a way to kind of control, or them, I guess, to control the difficulty even more finely than they could before, right? Because, you know, 3-star is different than 3.5 star because you get access to new monsters, and those new monsters may introduce weapons or armor that give you more defense or more offense, and so on and so forth. So with that, the difficulty really slid right on up, you know, very gradually, as opposed to oh man, 4-star is a big difficulty jump. Not really, because you had 3.5 star before it, and then after 4-star you have 4.5 star before you move on to 5. You know what I mean? So the difficulty curve actually playing through the game is really nice, and I'd like to see it come back in future Monster Hunter games, because it really felt like you were always unlocking something as you played through the game. So yeah. It doesn't feel like you're progressing too much when you know, if you're driven by, oh, I want to unlock the next thing, I want to unlock more gems to craft, I want to unlock more armors to craft. If you're progress driven, this game is awesome because you get to kind of stay at the same level while still unlocking a lot of new things for your hunter to craft, and, you know, make yourself stronger as you go along. The half-star, which is what I'm calling it, the half-star level not only gives you more opportunities to unlock new monsters and keep that fresh feeling of always unlocking something going, it also gives the game more opportunities to slide in cutscenes here or there after each urgent to help tell its story. And in this story, it's a pretty good story. I mean, you don't really play Monster Hunter for the story, but the story here it's, you know, standard Monster Hunter fare. I mean, if I asked you to guess the story of a Monster Hunter, if you've ever played one before, you kind of know what's going on, right? Oh no, the flagship is doing something. We hunted the flagship. Hooray, problem solved. Actually, no, not really. There's another big baddie somewhere, right? It's the same kind of formula. However, with this title and, you know, the half-star urgents, there are more cutscenes, and really well fleshed out cutscenes, if I do say so myself, that help explain the lore and what's going on. And it also kind of leans into the new thing, which is follower quests with this game, where you get Fioraine to kind of come with you on some hunts, and, you know, she actually does something. She actually plays a part. The NPCs like have names and have characters, and they do things. It's great. You're not just, oh, you're the hero and we're gonna stand back and watch you do everything. Heck nah, Fiora ain't coming with you, and she does some stuff. It's great. And then also you have a whole other follower quest system where you can hunt with various NPCs that kind of hang around the town and get to know them and see how they interact with each other. So yeah, the characters have never been more fleshed out in this game, and the fleshing out of those characters really helps to keep the story more engaging and help flesh out the story as well. So yeah, and then also follow requests. I played this game on Switch. Follow requests is excellent for Switch. I mean, if you want to hunt something solo, but you don't really want to hunt it solo, so to speak, you can always load up a follow request. Every monster in the game almost is available as a follow request. So if you really want the feeling of hunting in a party, but you're not connected to the internet because you're playing, I don't know, in a plane or something, you can just load up a follow request, pick your favorite NPCs, and head out, and it will feel as if you have hunting partners. It's great. They heal you, they lay traps, they run off on the map and grab another monster and pull up on they'll pull up riding a Basarios like, hey, sorry I had to dip a little bit, but I got us something, and they'll beat up the target quest monster. It's awesome. Or sometimes you'll initiate a wyvern mount, and if you just leave it there and don't touch it, one of them will jump on and do the wall bash thing. It's great. It's great. Loving follow requests, and I hope they're here to stay for the franchise because they really help flesh out the NPCs and give them something to do, rather than the NPCs have generic names like Chief, Blacksmith, Merchant. Like, nah, they all have names. We got Oboro, we got Manel, we got Gallius, we got actual characters here, and I'm really loving that change with the story. And then of course, when you beat the game and you see all of these NPCs that you've kind of formed a relationship with, you're like, yo, this is kind of dope. I like this a lot. So having talked about the story and beating the game, let's talk about what happens after you do so. The end game here is way better than base Rise's end game. This game actually feels complete. If this game never got any updates, I'd still be quite happy with it. However, we do know title updates are on the way. So yeah, and the end game loop, so to speak, is really good, and it breathes life into some of the lower tier monsters without getting too spoilery. So it gives you a reason to hunt almost every monster in the game again, right? Which has been a problem in previous Monster Hunter entries. Is like you'd get to end game and then you'd hunt the same 4 or 5 or 6 monsters that have like the best gear, the best weapons, the best armor, and you'd stay hunting those super hard monsters, and then the low to mid tier monsters just kind of get left behind in the dust. That is not the case here. Capcom has done something to help elevate those low tier monsters to where the parts and the pieces you get for the end game stuff help contribute to having strong gear. And then also another thing, the weapons in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, every single weapon tree is viable. Like it's actually really cool and really crazy. They're all viable, they're all very comparable, they're all on a level playing field. Almost, depending on what kind of play style and the weapon you use. So like, maybe you craft a low tier monster weapon in the beginning of the game to kind of help you get you through, and usually by the end you kind of scrap it. You never really go back to it because it can only be upgraded to a certain point, and by that point another monster that's later on in the game will outclass it. Not the case here. That first beginner baby weapon you made can be upgraded to equal something almost as strong as the final boss's weapon, right? So the weapon variety is off the charts. Like everybody is using everything because they're all viable depending on what your playstyle is. So yeah, really loving the way they did that. And after you roll credits, your MR is unlocked and you unlock a little bit more hunts, right? And even when you get to Master Rank 100, right? 100 is like the end. 100 is like, oh, okay, you did everything. But even after you get to 100, the game is kind of like, hey, keep raising your Master Rank. Keep hunting. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. So yeah, you can kind of feel that the title updates are gonna come in and make this even more complete. They're gonna add even more on top of this, which is excellent. Okay, this feels like we got Rise 3.0 from the jump, and then we're gonna get something as big as 2.0 or 3.0 on top of this with the more title updates on the way, which sounds incredible, and I'm super excited to participate and see what Capcom has in store for us when it comes to title updates. But yes, this game right now as it sits feels very complete, and I would be happy with it as a product, even if you know, it got no title updates. But we know title updates are coming, and based on what we see right now, I'm trying to remain vague and not spoil anybody, but there is a lot that could possibly be added to this, right? So you can already dump 200-300 hours in this game as it sits, and then title updates down the road come out. That's another 200, maybe 300 hours on top of that. So yes, this game is one of the best values when it comes to gaming, which is not surprising if you've ever played Monster Hunter before. But yeah, I sit currently almost at 600 hours combined time between Rise and Sunbreak. Sunbreak by itself is gonna be about, I think I'm at 120 hours right now in only Sunbreak time, and then I had 400 hours in Rise. But as you know, I have a channel dedicated to playing Monster Hunter, and you know, as a content creator, you play the game way more if you weren't. So yeah, that is going to be my review of Sunbreak, at least this patch, and I'll review every patch as they come out, which will go by way quicker, because you know, since I've already laid the groundwork for how I feel about this game, which is incredible, by the way. I recommend it to everybody. Please get this game. It's really good. It's a great time, and I'm willing to hunt with any of you and, you know, just have a good time hunting. But yes, if you liked Rise, this is Rise perfected, basically, okay? If you hated Rise, I'm not sure Sunbreak is gonna have what you're looking for, but if you liked Rise even a little bit, oh man, you're gonna have a blast playing Sunbreak. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak as a whole. It's a great game. Is it a 10 out of 10? No, because they don't have master rank Apexes and Apex armors. I'm lying. I'm chilling. I'm tripping. We don't know what's in store for us for title updates. And I guess I'll stick a number on it, maybe when all the title updates are out. But for now, I'm feeling really strongly about it. Like 9 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10, super high. Really love this game, and I can see myself playing this more and more as the time and the days go by. But yeah, subscribe and like and comment down below. Tell me, am I tripping on how I feel about this game? Am I giving it too much praise? Do I not hate it enough? Let me know in the comments down below, and be sure to subscribe if you love Monster Hunter content. And as always, people, happy hunting. Peace.